So I will not be making Hey Masako, welcome back. Noise. Generally considered a bad thing. You know, background noise, as I'm sure you can hear right now in this recording, but also like ground noise from faulty connections or circuits. Generally not what we want in a recording. However, noise can sometimes be used in a positive way. It can be added to a lot of patches on synthesizers, and it can be just used as the entire source of the music in noise music. Noise music is often created using no input mixing, which is basically, well, it's not no input, but it's no external input, because the only inputs into a mixer are the outputs of the same mixer, so that they create feedback loops. And that creates a lot of noise, a lot of interesting tones, and hence noise music. So I won't be making noise music in this video, but the original inspiration for the technique I'm going to make some music with today did come from noise music, so basically the most fundamental part of it, which I kind of, after doing it, realized it has been done before. Freebeat, I will link the video up here. Freebeat made a video basically doing, well, what I'm about to show you. NTS1 effects processor. If you plug just a cable into here and then touch the end of the cable, you'll get all that normal electric noisy sounds getting affected by the reverb, delay, mod effects, and you'll get a lot of interesting sounds coming out of it. Now, I've been doing a couple jams. I haven't showed anyone on the internet, but I have just been jamming and seeing if this is a cool idea, and I really am enjoying what I'm coming up with. I'm basically just playing notes on here while having this be inputted into it, and have just some crazy effects going on with the delay, and then using delay feedback sound design, as I made a video about previously, to really just create some more interesting sounds. And an easy way to have it not always be just repeating, just have it be a slowly evolving soundscape, is have the depth on the delay be so close to 100% that it feedbacks for a very long time, but it will eventually fade out, so that the new sounds will actually replace the old ones, not just get infinitely stacked and get louder and louder and louder, which is what you want. You want it to change, but slowly. So the fundamental idea is very simple. So you have two sounds coming in, this crazy electric sounds and the internal synth voice going into a string of effects to create some crazy modulated delay, not atonal, but not necessarily pitched, if you know what I mean. Like, the pitches are moving around and that gives your ear something to follow, but it's not necessarily like in a scale or anything. Obviously the original notes you play will be in a scale, but once you modulate everything with the delay time and stuff, it doesn't stay at the same notes. So the next step in this puzzle is to try and use this fundamental idea in a more complete way to create a full sounding track. Now, I think I've created some pretty full sounding sounds using this technique just on the NTS1, but it can be expanded. So how are we going to do that? Well, I previously shot a little bit of this video, and I spent 10 minutes explaining all the different options and why they won't work. I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm just going to explain the one that does work. So this is the circuit tracks, typically used for, you know, electro, techno, those kind of genres. But the synth engine can do some noise. It's not very versatile, but I can just make a patch that's noise and have all these knobs control like effects that are applied to it. So I could have noise, and then I could filter it, apply an envelope to it, etc. And then also apply effects to it, so there's a distortion and a chorus within the synth engine, so I can use those. So I could make a patch that's just noise and have two instances of that on the synth 1 and synth 2. So I could have some actual noise in here, as well as the electric noise coming from here. So then I have 3 noisy sources, plus I have 4 sample tracks, which could play some sort of background, well, also noise, but I could sort of process noise more intentionally and not have it be live randomness that's coming in based on actual physical interactions with the world, and have it be sequence noises that are, I could use the random sequencing capabilities of this device in order to have it random, constantly evolving, but not necessarily completely random, if you know what I mean. So I could have some somewhat rhythmic elements. Anyway, the interesting part, there are two audio inputs here which are used for the internal mixer, because traditionally you would use this to control two external devices and then bring the audio back in. But you can still bring the audio back in even if you're not controlling them with this. So one of those audio sources will be this, with the electric noise and the internal synth voice and stuff. The other one will be this MP3 player, which can play some more long form ambient samples, which I could make. So what I often do is create a like 20-minute long sound and just upload it onto here, and it will basically just be chopped up clips of people talking, footsteps, etc., all chopped up and mangled to go in the background. So overall, I would end up with a background ambience, two noisy synths going on, one electric noise, as well as one ambient pad type sound coming from the synth voice here, but both of those are getting chopped up and messed up by this effects chain, sorry. So there's a bunch of just noise coming in different ways and getting combined. Then there's the noise samples on the circuit tracks, which will be basically doing the same thing, just in a slightly more predetermined way. So there's just a ton of noise plus some other background sounds that aren't exactly, that are just like, well, they're just background sounds. So it's going to be talking, footsteps, you know, bird sounds, whatever, just different sounds. So, not exactly the same thing as no input mixing noise music, but still could be very interesting to explore. So what I'm going to do now is just create a quick setup using that. Afterwards I might break down what happened a little bit, but there probably won't be much to say. I mean, I think I've explained most of the technique already. So, enjoy the jam. Okay, so I'm just about to record the jam, but there are two oversights. One, the inputs on the circuit tracks are 1/4 inch, and I only have one adapter for that, meaning that I can only have either the digital noise stuff from the NGS1 or the MP3 player. So that means I'm not going to have the background ambience in this jam, but if I ever actually use this to produce music, I will just add that stuff into the recording later. The second thing to think about is the fact that I haven't actually designed the patches on the circuit tracks, so I don't have any of the noise patches, but it doesn't really matter. Again, I will have those if I ever actually use this for creating music, but in this case I'm not, so it doesn't really matter. So we'll basically just have the NTS1 stuff going on, and then maybe a little bit from the circuit tracks, but not a ton. Still, we'll just see what we can do and enjoy the jam. Alright, so that was like 8 minutes or so of interesting sounds. Even with that setup that was a bit more limited than I would have liked, I was still able to create a fairly full sounding track. And I think with a bit more planning, which I feel like planning isn't exactly a word I'd associate with this type of music when it's very evolving and almost uncontrollable. But with some of the elements, especially if I get that noise patch design like I want to, it could be quite controllable and plannable, and I could actually sort of tell a story with it, which is very I guess, cliche songwriting tip, but it can actually apply in this sense because I don't know, it just something to think about, possibly a bit more planning of the structure of the song in terms of intensity, when the different elements come in and out, because like there were 3 different noticeable elements. There was the pad sound, actually 4. There was the pad sound, there was the cable noise, there was the sort of triangle wave folded sound from the NTS-1's internal synth, and then there was the clicking sounds from the samples I added during the track. So those 4 sounds in total can come in and out at different times. Plus I could have another synth, I could have some more samples, and the background sound coming from the MP3 player, although obviously unless I get another adapter it won't actually be from the MP3 player in this case. So that's pretty much it for this one. I will be exploring this more in the future. I think that's pretty much it for this one. A fairly simple video, but hopefully you enjoyed the music. If you did, make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing to my channel. If you have any comments, feedback or suggestions related to this video or my channel or whatever, leave them in the comment section down below. I try to respond to pretty much every comment I get, so hopefully I'll get to yours as well. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.